think it's great. I feel like I said, first day, so everybody's just getting used to a defense as well. But I feel like me, him, and CD and Jalen Tolbert gonna have a great rapport just as long as we keep working.
Inside Cowboys training camp, driven by Ford. I'm Nicole Hutchison alongside Tommy Yarrish, and we got this chance to see Dak Prescott, that connection with George Pickens, and of course CeeDee Lamb, right, Tommy? But you know, is that George Pickens, Dak Prescott connection everything that you expected it to be so far?
Yeah, so far, I mean, through a couple of practices pretty early on here in Oxnard, everything you would expect, right? You're going to see some growing pains, but you're also going to see some things that could be. We saw Dak Prescott kind of go on the move and hit George Pickens over the middle, see him turn upfield. We saw a far sideline throw from Dak Prescott to George Pickens where he did the same thing, but we also saw some times where Dak Prescott and George Pickens just aren't on the same page. That's going to come with time, Nicole. That's going to come with reps. These guys need to play together more, and now they're getting the chance to do so here in Oxnard.
Yeah, and that's something that Brian Schottenheimer even mentioned, the fact that, you know, it wasn't the standard, right? A standard of throwing the football. So obviously that's going to improve over the next couple of days, hopefully. But you saw some pre-snap motion. He said he does not want to be stagnant in this offense at all. What did you like from that?
Yeah, obviously in today's NFL, pre-snap motion is so important, right? And it opens things up for you. You know, you look at Kyle Shanahan, who does it really well in San Francisco, and Brian Schottenheimer doesn't want to be stoic. That's what he told us in the press conference a while ago, is he doesn't want to be stoic. He wants to get guys moving. He wants to confuse the defense, make the defense change, and kind of get that early advantage before you snap the ball. And when you've got a quarterback like Dak Prescott, who is good off of play action and has used a lot of motion in the past, Mike McCarthy used it a good bit at some points when his tenure with the Cowboys, it's always a good thing to get guys moving. And when you have guys like Kevontae Turpin, too, who benefit from being on the move and then turning upfield, you can do a lot of good things on offense.
I want to get back to this wide receiver connection. You've got a guy like Jalen Tolbert who is gunning for that wide receiver 3 role. What have you seen early on that has impressed you so far about him?
Yeah, Jalen Tolbert, certainly the guy who's the front runner, considering he was the 3rd wide receiver on this Cowboys team, and honestly sometimes moved up to wide receiver 2 last year because of injuries. So you've seen some good things from Jalen Tolbert, and you're seeing what the connection that he's already got with Dak Prescott. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Jonathan Mingo, too, the guy that the Cowboys traded for last year, made a couple of nice plays in the first couple of days of practice. So it's going to be a fun competition to watch there in that wide receiver room for those 3rd, 4th, 5th spots.
What more do you need to see from Jalen Tolbert in order to solidify that spot?
Well, obviously, Dak Prescott is going to – a majority of those targets are going to go to George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, right? So Jalen Tolbert's got to make his count. And that's the most important thing for a wide receiver 3 is when those 2 guys are covered, because so much attention will go to them eventually, can Jalen Tolbert be in position to make plays like he was at points last year? And I think that last year's really going to help him in those spots. You think about the Pittsburgh game, the Carolina game, where he's in the right place at the right time and he's making plays. Now it just needs to be more consistent in his new role in this offense.
Yeah, he's got to make his snaps count, but so does a guy like Miles Sanders. I know we touched on him in yesterday's show, but I went one-on-one with him after practice, and we'll see where he feels like he stands in that running back room.
Inside Cowboys Training Camp, presented by Ford, is brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. This segment is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, training camp's all about stacking days, and Miles Sanders is certainly stacking a couple so far, eyeing that running back 1 spot. I went one-on-one with him in the first episode of 40 Camp Stride. Here's our Sleep Numbers feature.
Finally say I'm a Dallas Cowboy. We're here in training camp 2025. I feel good.
Welcome to Camp Strides. It's the first episode, and I have Miles Sanders over here with me. Now, Miles, how would you describe the energy in practice? I mean, you guys got the music going. Of course, Brian Schottenheimer with the good energy as well.
These guys flying around full speed, making plays on both sides of the ball. Explosive plays, running and passing. And especially going against this type of defense, it's good. It's a good feeling.
What does that do for you, going up against a defense like a Matt Eberflus defense?
I mean, it just brings a little confidence because, you know, if you think you're going against the best defense in football in training camp, then pretty much ready for whatever that comes your way during the season. So
You've obviously been around a dynamic competition in running back room, especially in Carolina, but Brian Schottenheimer's talked about, obviously, he wants to compete, you know, a running back room that's going to compete, and there's a lot of talent in that room. How do you kind of separate yourself from the other guys?
just being me, I guess. I don't know how to answer that question because I got a lot of respect for everybody in the room. Just be me, be who I am every day, and just take it one day at a time.
You were able to obviously split first team reps with Javonte Williams, also get some second team reps as well. How much do you kind of think of that, or do you even think of that at all day to day in practice?
No, not really, unless this is like a dramatic change. But right now, I'm just trying to get some reps in and trying to get the best work I can.
We're back here to wrap things up on Inside Cowboys training camp, and Tommy Yarrish joins me to put a spotlight on the tight ends up next.
This segment was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
We're back here to wrap things up on Inside Cowboys training camp, driven by Ford, Nicole, Hutchison, and Tommy Yarrish. And we saw that wide receiver room certainly starting to stack some good days. But that QB1, tight end 1, we like that connection as well with Jake Ferguson. How much do you feel like, you know, obviously Jake Ferguson just struggling last year a little bit in this offense, but how much do you feel like he can make this bounce back year in year 3 for him?
Yeah, I don't know if many people are happier than Jake Ferguson that Dak Prescott's back under center, because the two of them in 2023 had a great connection. It led to Jake Ferguson going to the Pro Bowl. So obviously he wants to get back to those kinds of numbers. And Brian Schottenheimer talked a little bit about him on the opening day, just because he was asked about Jake Ferguson. Hey, is this a year where he can bounce back? Brian Schottenheimer very confident that that can happen with Jake Ferguson. And Dak Prescott's going to be a big reason why. They love their connection in the seam. I think Dak Prescott's one of the better quarterbacks in the league when it comes to fitting the passes in the seam, because that's a very difficult spot of the field to throw in. You're usually pretty contested. You've got a couple of guys draped over a tight end, but Ferguson's big, he's athletic, and he can make those kinds of plays because of the frame that he's got. And now with his quarterback back under center, you might be able to utilize him a little bit more in this offense.
There's also been a kind of a big question mark in that tight end 2 role. I mean, you saw Luke Schoonmaker in year 2 kind of make a little bit of a jump, but what have you seen from him early on? What's impressed you about Luke?
Yeah, Schoonmaker, I think, last year did a little bit more than we thought he would, and especially Ferguson's injury certainly helped with that. But you started to see a little bit of why the Cowboys liked Luke Schoonmaker coming out of Michigan last year. Still ups and downs here and there, but nonetheless, he was pretty consistent when they needed him to be. And now this training camp, it's all about, hey, just keeping that up and being sure that you can do the same types of things. And you've got a guy, Brevin Spanford, who's kind of nipping at his heels, because you look at him and he's a big dude and moves like a gazelle, and he can block, he can do everything you want. This is a guy that kind of epitomizes what Lunda Wells and Brian Schottenheimer want from their tight ends in the tight end room. So I think Schoonmaker's obviously still got that tight end 2 spot for now, but Brevin Spanford's a guy to watch, and if Schoonmaker doesn't continue to take those steps in his progression and in his development, then it's certainly going to be something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and I want to mention the fact that, Lunda Wells is holding these guys accountable when you guys have drops. Brevin Spanford in practice did have a drop and got all the tight ends to go down and do push-ups. So how much do you like that accountability from Lunda?
Yeah, it's always good to have that kind of accountability, right? Everybody's held to the same standard. That's what Brian Schottenheimer has told us multiple times over and over again. So when you see them continuing to do that and continuing to enforce that, then that's always a good sign for a team.
Well, the opening ceremony is on Saturday. That's the 27th. That's in 3 days. We've got the pads that will be coming on in 4. We'll make sure to keep you guys updated. Make sure to follow our DallasCowboys.com team. We will have you covered all throughout training camp, like guys like Tommy Yarrish. But that's it here for Inside Cowboys training camp, driven by Ford. I'm Nicole Hutchison and Tommy Yarrish. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow.
Inside Cowboys Training Camp, presented by Ford, was brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.